Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more Wartales. And we're going to continue our little journey here with a bit of combat right away against a level 1 hoodlum and a poacher, which is going to be really easy, to be honest with you, because, well, I mean, at least it should be, right? Two of our guys get to go first, and yeah, everything should be fine. Could be, I say. Right, not really. We're going to take some damage, unfortunately. I can't get to the poacher is the problem. But it's okay. Or can I? Not quite. Unfortunately not. Yes, I can. Yes, I can with you. It's a matter of who has the most movement points. The Commandlicious can get to the poacher, and then we can avoid taking... Well, maybe not avoid taking damage altogether, but at least avoid taking all that much damage. So, first and foremost, this hoodlum goes first. We have to engage him, and I'm going to do that with the nuke. Like I say, living up to his name every time he swings that big thing around. And then we're going to walk in with God Orion. And just... yeah. Going to do that. And that gives us a Valor point to spend as well, which I don't think we're going to need, but it is what it is. And then we go in with Commanderlicious. Take a nice little swing at the hoodler. Oh, sorry, at the poacher. End the turn there, and... well... unfortunately for me, Pottymouth is probably not going to be able to reach his target from here, although if I spend the extra point that we got, yeah, I will be able to finish him off. Nice. Okay, there we go. At no cost whatsoever for us, we got ourselves another piece of armor, which is nice. And we can actually give that to someone who might take damage at some point, which is... this guy. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the level for it. Really think about that, but okay, we'll keep the armor piece here. And then, for Commandlicious, we get, every time you engage in combat, you gain 1 point of Valor, or a temporary point of Valor. That's good. We're going to need to camp, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess we will see. But we're going to need to camp, and I'd like to do it away from the main road. Also doing some work in the background of the PC. I'm hoping that's not going to cause too much jittering and stuttering like this, but yeah, if it does, it'll be very temporary. Be done any minute now, and yeah, next to this old camp, we can set up our new one. And, well, first and foremost, some hay for me. To be honest, this part of the game I haven't really thought about, that I'm gonna need to feed myself some hay and get a pitch post for myself later down the line. It sounded a lot cooler when we were on paper and I was the, you know, noble steed that's the only permanent factor in the group of mercenaries because it's out of combat and etc, etc. In retrospect, I also thought about the fact that the noble steed can be sold and can't be slaughtered for food, I don't think, but yeah, that also didn't really occur to me prior, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. Can improve my constitution, I guess, not that it really matters. Okay, Commandlicious gets a point in career plan. Gets a point in strength, or rather gets 2 points in strength. Big brain move. That's why career plan is incredible, just absolutely incredible. Early on, at least. Well, if you get it early on, I mean. Next, let's see what level 3, right? So there's nothing else that we need. Crafting. Yes, crafting. We can improve the workshop, which is not bad. A cooking pot is very much necessary. We can also get 2 lockpicks. before we go to bed. And then, don't need fish hooks, but I definitely need a cooking pot. Camp chest is also useful, but that's for way later down the line. Okay, and here we go. Cooking pot. So, we have a new profession, which is cook. Unfortunately, nobody in our group here knows how to cook, so this is just going to sit around for a little bit. But it's not going to sit around for very long, I assure you. Because very soon, I'm actually going to add one bit of honey as well, I think. Actually, that's 2 food. Let's remove this and add 1 alcohol as well. Make sure we get that happiness way up. Because every time your happiness is at 15 or above, you get some bonuses. Sorry, just back giving me a little bit of trouble these days. Stretch a little bit. There we go. Not too much sitting, Juggernaut. I tend to exercise sometimes. I don't think it was that. I might have injured something recently, but yeah. Anywho. Apples, bread, wolf meat, all of that is... I mean, this is all just food. This is a cooking ingredient for later down the line. I'll try not to use this. Alright. And rest. Right, and there we go. So, 3 happiness from companions, 2 happiness from food, puts us at 15. Experience gained in combat is increased by 15%. And there you go. Is it 15? Yeah, it's 15%. There you go. So that's certainly significant, I would say. We can then go over to the compendium too, and we're going to need to start unlocking these, but I require a cook novice for that, so maybe leave that until later. Yeah, I know how to make pork and wolf sausages already. For everything else, I'm going to need to learn. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. And then we can go with more money, I think. Or feed makers. Maximum valor points increased by 1. Let's go with for money. Go with that. Okay. Arts, encyclopedist. And that's it. Alright. Moving on, somewhere around this direction, well, first of all, we're going to have another bit of combat, but somewhere around this direction should be the first town.
Hello, Dick. No need to look so... See? I was
Yeah,
not
about that. I
mistaken.
could recruit
You
you for
really
60.
are.
Not bad, however, Raider Outlaw and everything, and it just came to my attention that I'll have nothing in common with these vultures, so we're going to fight you. I was thinking about that off camera sort of a little bit, and I thought to myself, well, hold on. I wanted to recruit her because it's nice and cheap, but at the same time, isn't this like very, very, very much against everything I stand for? And yeah, it turns out it absolutely is. So, simple, I suppose. Okay. Which one of these has more health? It's about the same. Alright. So, we're just gonna hit, engage, get our extra valor point, move up behind, stab, 39! Beautiful. And turn. Engage once again. And turn, and then just make sure we get in such a position that we can't hit the nuke from the bow shot. There you go. And we start off with galvanization already because we outnumber them so badly, so just makes sense, I suppose. All right, another piece of armor and some very, very, very welcome and important. XP. There we go. This took me a while to get there. Right, 2 points in dexterity, no need for career plans. So we're going to grab that right away. And then there's going to be a bit difficult. So we have Hunter, which I really like. It deals 8 damage to all targets in the area and pushes them back for 2 meters, applies slowdown for 2 turns. Sorry, for 1 round of combat. That's good. Then there's Infantryman, which is expensive. Targets a specific area, performs an attack of opportunity against the first 3 enemies crossing the area. I like this. I like the idea of it. What I don't like is the fact that it's 2 points. On the other hand, there's Beastmaster. All allied animals next to the target attack them with an attack of opportunity. I need a minute to figure out what this means. So all allied animals next to the target attack them with a attack of opportunity. Is that instant? It should be, right? So what this means is if you have one of your animals, like either a pony or later down the line, you can tame wolves and bears and stuff like that. You should definitely tame bears; they're amazing. But you know, more on that later. Once we tame a bear, I'm going to be able to tell him go attack, and he's going to do an extra attack on the spot. That's very good. Is it better than Hunter? Could be. Thing is, I've played with this before, I haven't played around with this, so... let's try something I haven't tried before. I think that that makes sense. And then armor, you're going to stick with the Farmer's Rags, because this guy sees more close combat than you. 2 points in dexterity, again. And then we have Cutthroat, Poisoner, or Strategist. I think I'm going to go with Cutthroat. Yeah, and that's sort of how we're building you from the get-go. And then Outlaws Tabard. And then for Commanderlicious, I think, or for Danuke, probably for Danuke would be a better option. For Danuke, we can get you this, right? Which is 1 armor less and 2 movement less. Okay, we cannot get you this. Oh, but it does give you 8 guard, which doesn't help much at all. Okay, never mind. Never mind, we're not doing it, we're selling this. Fair enough. And so, we are rid of the vile vulture, brigand, bandit, whatever you want to call it. And feeling good about ourselves as a result. And we have made it to the first biggest settlement in the game, really, which is the little village of Courtier. Now, in the village, a couple of things. First and foremost, there's the inn, which is one of the most important buildings in the game. And in real life as well, probably. You know, inns are very important for you. Now, the reason it's very important is because this person... Indeed we are. If we are to make our livelihood as mercenaries, we're going to need to pick up mercenary contracts, and those are random, and they range from easy to medium to hard, and they're endless. So they're infinitely regenerating, and there's more and more of them, and they provide infinite replayability in the game because, well, it's the sort of roguelite element of the game. So, this is actually a lot of money. No matter what point you are in the game, this is a fair bit of money. So, some of the peasants have taken advantage of the chaos of war to steal an extremely valuable pony. The guard wants you to make an example of them. We're going to do that, which is way over there. Free Sherr's Sheepfold. Wolves have taken up residence there, so we're going to do that as well, which is nearby. And then we also have Vanquished Tibetius's squad. Now, I'm picking up the easy ones on purpose, and you'll notice all 3 of the ones I'm picking up are north of here, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. Informant is if you want to speed along your journey for the story of the region, but I don't really want to do that right now, not that important. And then, so those are our mercenary contracts, we're going to earn a lot of money from them, awesome. Next important thing we have in the tavern are potential recruits. So we have this person, we have this person, we have this person, all of whom are potential recruits. Now, you don't actually need to pay attention to their professions, because they can change. They're just going to lose experience that they have in them, but notice that they don't have any experience in their professions, so that's fine. Really, the only things you want to look at when looking into recruits is the type of weaponry they're using and the class they are, and then the traits. People without traits, perfectly viable. People with traits like volunteer, even better. People with 2 traits, such as damage increased by 10% against enemies who haven't taken an action this turn, and damage increased by 10% if not next to an ally. That's 20% damage against an enemy that hasn't taken his turn yet. Not bad at all. Unfortunately, we already have an archer, so it's not exactly ideal. But yeah, this guy, pretty good. This, pretty solid as well. Guy with no traits, also not that bad. Negative traits you kind of want to be on the lookout for. You also, can take into consideration their wages, the stats that they have, food they consume, carry weight they add, and so on and so forth. All of which is kind of important. But what I want to do is I want to recruit some of them. Now, to recruit them, we're going to need both gold and influence. And I got to be careful with both, because, well, I need both. And I reckon I'm going to recruit this one. Or am I? Not really. I'm looking for a pikeman. I don't really need to recruit either of them just yet. But we can go over here.
There were 2 of us working here until Count Lahart enlisted my
and then we can sell a whole bunch of this stuff that we don't need, which puts us at 382 crowns. Which is a good bit of money, you have to admit. It's a good bit of money. We can also pay a little bit of gold to have our equipment repaired, which is better than using these raw materials, because they're kind of expensive. So we can do that. And then that's fine. Next thing that we have, so that was the forge, or the blacksmith. Next thing we have is the market. So in the market you can find various goods. Most important of which, especially early on in the game, is salt. So we can get 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of salt. And the reason we're getting salt is because you need salt to cook any type of meat pretty much into a nutritious meal. And salt is fairly cheap. So 4 bits of salt, and then over here you can buy milk and salt as well. Sorry about the permutation there. Calm down, Dragonaut. Okay. Anywho, let's just cover. I want to buy, let's say, 2 salt from you and 2 bits of pork from you, just to demonstrate my point. And then I realized I don't have a cook in the party, and I really, really badly need one. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the tavern, or the inn, and we're going to recruit someone. I like this guy a lot, even though he is an archer and I already got one. I would prefer for him to be, what you call it, the other one, crossbowman, rather than the archer. That would have been a little bit better. Pugilist I need, but I need one with a couple of traits. That would be ideal. Okay, never mind. We're leaving. We have fatigue. We have 4 people in the group. We don't need to settle for less than ideal companions, shall we say. And we have 2 quests up here that are going to be relatively easy, so...
Might I interest you, my humble wares?
Not quite, thank you. Not anything I currently need. Although it is worth checking these caravans occasionally for useful items.
Might I interest you in my humble wares, my good sirs?
I mean, such as some of these, if I were inclined to chemistry and alchemy, which I'm not, and I said I'm going to just try and avoid that profession pretty much the entirety of the game and just focus on selling these things. Up in the mountains, there's probably useful things, but we need to head this way for our stuff. And then you are selling equipment, aren't you? Pirate's Axe. This axe has a razor-sharp blade. So I've noticed. Gash skill. Outlaw's a layered armor. Medium armor for the outlaw. Honestly, not worth the money. You can take some of the stuff that I've picked up. Give me a bit of gold for that. And I want to check out this camp over here and those mushrooms, because the mushrooms are going to be a little bit of food. Camp is an improvised burning stake. Sorry about that, just randomly got alt-tabbed. This I don't like the look of. So, Inquisitor Odilos, a paladin with a kick-ass shield. I mean, that's a proper Roman scutum. That is amazing looking. Look at it. And a Gladius. Look at Gladius as well. These are amazing. 34 health, 38 armor. Horrible leader. And then this guy with 20 health, 17 armor. A fanatic. We're going to be back here, right? We're going to be back here later down the line. I can see where this is going. They're trying to burn that person alive, probably. I don't really consider that appropriate. And so we're going to put a stop to it. I'm just going to save up this learning point, I think, for a bit later down the line. And we get our first path reward, which is for encyclopedic knowledge of the region. Yeah, right, fair enough. What do we get? I think Spaniards are less prone to injury in battle. I really like this. And asceticism is really good, but I really like Just a Scratch because healing up injuries after a battle is pretty expensive.
Might I interest you in my humble
And you know how I mentioned alchemy isn't going to be a big thing that I do? Well, one of the main ways of treating injuries is by getting better at alchemy. And so if I'm not going to do alchemy, potions are going to be more expensive, and potions are what you use to treat injuries, and you get the point. Alright, let's fight. So, our task as mercenaries, or our contract as mercenaries right now, is to clear out this sheepfold. And fairly straightforward task, if you ask me. We have 3 wolves. And we need to get rid of them. So, this one is going to go first. Oh, that's an advantage for me. Because this one can't reach any of us. And I don't need to move. Right. So we're just going to move you here. And we're just going to end turn, get our valor point, and easy. Yeah, because you're going to have to spend your entire turn just running and not doing anything. And then we need to kill this one and engage this one, ideally, this turn. How best to go about doing that? Well, I think going to be 9 damage to all units in the area. There's going to be 6 to 8. I reckon. Guaranteed kill on this wall. Then galvanization. Then we get close. Then move up. Okay, that was a bit lucky. That was a very high roll. And then we end the turn. Stab. There we go. Alright, this is a bit trivial easy, but these are literally the first few tasks we have to do, so don't exactly expect much from them, but, you know, there you go. Plus, I think, given everything, and given the fact that we are starting in this region, I think that means that everything's a little bit lower level, and there's fewer enemies than would be here usually if you were starting in the other possible starting location. So just bear that in mind, I guess. Again, something we can sell, which is great. And let me just check if I'm not missing anything. No. Alright, we have sheep. Waste not, want not. We could execute the sheep. It's shaking quite a bit. You're not entirely sure it's edible. I don't want to execute it. It's only skin and bones. Yeah, well, Let's not execute them. Oh, that'll do, I think. There's a caravan of, I think, refugees coming, right?
We have nothing. We are only refugees fleeing the Ediranian war. Please let us go.
I would give you some bread, but I need it for this night's camping. So, yeah, unfortunately, not going to be able to help you out much, but you're free to go on your way. Like I said, I did a run recently where I just spent, honestly, a couple of not in-game days, but a couple of real-life games just ambushing caravans up and down roads, and it was fairly fun, but gets a bit boring when it's just against those guys. Now, every time your attack hits multiple units, you gain 1 valor point. I like this. My problem is I don't have a way of facilitating. Well, I don't have a way of making you hit multiple enemies at once very often. And so I get the feeling a defensive stance is a little bit better. This is cool, and especially you can do a basic attack, which will then give you 1 valor point, and then you can do swordsmith, which will hit 2 enemies anyway if you hit them with a basic attack. It's a great combo. Problem is I don't have a way of making it happen very often, and so yeah. Anyways, buff up strength to 12 using your influence, and that's about it, I think. We have to camp at this point. And we have a new profession, Scholar. Right, that's not necessarily late game stuff, but I get the feeling that it's pretty much always late game stuff. Don't know if that makes sense, but it is what it is. Alright, anyways. New thing we've learned how to make to upgrade our camp is the tent. Now, an assigned companion rests in the tent and gives you +1 valor point, whereas here they give you happiness. As you can see, we're maxed out on happiness, so we're going to put 2 people sleeping inside the tent. You can continue working on that, give us more raw materials to work with, and that's about it. We can go to sleep, we can pay our wages, eat this food, eat the apples and drink the alcohol and eat everything, because, yeah, yikes, food's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Whoops, did not mean to do that. Luckily, it saves it. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to. Unfortunate as it is. We're using up more food now than last time, you may have noticed, because there's no hay for me, so I have to chew on some of the apples. And no, it's never going to stop being funny that I'm the pony of the group. It really, really isn't. This, however, is going to be interesting, especially for the, viewer interactability and stuff. So the Nuke has a dilemma, if you will. He ponders something. Let's see what's troubling him. A new injury after every battle. I'm not built for this life. What are you talking about? You barely get injured, ever. Here's how we can sort out his insecurity. He can just cry, which will reduce happiness and will reduce valor. Great. He can command a raise, which doesn't last forever. I thought this lasts forever, and so I was like, wait, I would rather him just curl up and cry, because I can get back both the happiness and the valor points. No, the raise doesn't last forever, so it's a risk bonus for a certain time period. Or we can overanalyze, which requires 1 valor point. Definitely, we're just going to spend the valor point on that, and that's objectively the best thing to do, I think, in this case. Especially given the fact that we have so many valor points. Right, and we actually haven't been playing that long. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. We're getting chased by the bandits that we need to kill, and I just noticed that there's 5 of them. We don't have to take this fight, and I understand that most of the fights that we've taken thus far have been relatively easy, I want to say. Maybe not the easiest, but relatively easy. Like I mentioned before, we don't actually have to take each and every one of the fights. So I'm going to put this down here so we can get up and down the mountain more easily. And also, this might not be it, but I do have... Yeah, this doesn't look like it. I do have this treasure map, which shows... Well, it shows something, and it kind of looks like this area, but not really. Let me see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 trees in like a thing formation. It's very similar, but it's not here. Because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no group of 4 trees that are isolated like that, so it's not here. You can see some wild animals back there in the distance. Probably not the best idea to pick a fight with them. It could be bears. Bears are incredibly tanky. Well, let's continue going up the mountain, I think. Oh, it's wild boars. Okay. See if we can outrun them. If not, then... yeah, we're going to be able to outrun them. Okay. We're going to go this way up the mountain. Next, let's not run until these guys attack us. And when they do, we'll just sprint away. Too many of them, that's the problem. I need a few more team members, or a few more companions, whatever you want to call it, before I can take this fight with any degree of certainty. Although we do find something up here. We've discovered a secret, which is a skill mastery book. Okay, that's awesome. And a little bit more. This. I get the feeling, if we take a look at the map, that the secret I'm looking for is either over here or over here. Or it could be on the opposite mountain chain thing. Because, let's take a look at it again. Yeah, I'm looking for 4 trees next to a forest on like a little slope thing that you can get up. Doesn't look like it's here. So, yeah. Also, let's check the map. I don't think I can put anything here like a button to try and get down the other side of the map. I don't think that's going to be an option. I think it's too steep. So, yeah, let's forget about that. And, okay. So what, we did camp. Let's take a look at what's happening in Shira's sheepfold now that we haven't slaughtered the sheep. Only skin and bone. Right. I'm wondering if anything happens if I leave the sheep alone and return after a few days or something. That'll be interesting. So what's going to happen? Oh. We need to camp again. This is going to be dangerous and it's going to be difficult, but we need to fight these guys before we camp, even though we're going to be doing it with a damage deficit. We do have galvanization, though, so that's the reason I decided to take this fight. And besides, camping next to them is a sure way to get ambushed while we camp, so not the best. Okay. I probably can't hit both of them with a sword, but I can try. I can. Okay, good to know. Good to know for the future. I definitely can. And 1 HP off of killing both of them. Again, galvanization is a beautiful thing. But we got to start killing right now. So, first of all, stab, and turn. Shoot him in the face. Okay, that is brutal. Through the eyeball. That is very much brutal. Okay, there we go. Another bit of armor. We can actually put that bit of armor on you, can't we? You know what? For a bunch of self-righteous heroes that we're trying to be and doing the right thing and all, we wear an awful lot of brigand armor and outlaw tabards and whatnot. Not quite sure what to make of that. I mean, you can argue, you know, whatever, but yeah. Okay, so we're gonna camp here. Means food's gonna be a real problem, isn't it? Yikes. Boy oh boy is food gonna be a real problem. Okay. Let's kick... Actually, neither of you out, because we don't have a woodcutter either. Okay. Well... We're gonna need to... do something that's not so optimal. However, first and foremost, I can upgrade someone's knowledge of their skills. Except I can't do... Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I just need to click the actual skill. Okay, that's what it does. So, I can upgrade laceration, usable after 1 attacks. That would be amazing. I think that's the biggest upgrade out of all of them. Because that means I can attack with cleave once and then immediately use laceration and kill, in theory, 2 enemies with 1 companion in the same turn. That would be amazing. But let's take a look at the rest. So, all allied animals next to the target gain fury and strike with an attack of opportunity. Fury... Damage of the next attack is increased by 50%, an attack that deals 75% damage. Look at this. An attack that deals 75% damage. It's... Okay, fine. Get riposte and inspiration. It's not bad, but it's not ideal. Not that useful. This, I think, is pretty good as well. So, if in ambush, performs 2 additional attacks. Fatal Blow, that's what it adds. The skill can be reused in this round if it kills someone, but it already costs 2 valor points. No, this is definitely the skill to upgrade. Now, Laceration on Danuke is absolutely incredible, and, like I mentioned previously, he will just continue to live up to his name over and over again, basically. Which is, yeah, it's good. Alright, so we're going to have to eat some... I mean, I'm assuming it's not raw meat. We're going to cook it over the fire, right? It's just that we're not going to make much of a meal out of it, but you get the point. And we're resting. Although, I can kick one of you out of the bed, because I'd rather get some happiness. We're already at max valor points. And then just rest. Plus, we pay our wages, so everyone's going to be happy. We get a little bit of influence. Now, Pottymouth has a dilemma of his own. Another disgusting meal. Is it too much to ask for cooked food? Yeah, drink a healing potion. Ouch. Healing potions are somewhat expensive, as you may surmise. Yeah. Okay. Well, need to upgrade a couple of these things. Bendium, I think we're still gonna... I mean, I could learn a tent upgrade or a campfire upgrade. Although that's gonna need... Isn't it? That's gonna need a few things. We can upgrade the workshop. After 1 rope as well. Should have done that last night, but yeah. Let's get 1 more pit and just... Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. No, it's fine. How many... Let's get 2 more lockpicks. Always need those, not that I really break many of them, but yeah. And let's upgrade the workshop. It's useful. We're gonna use it a lot, so might as well. And we can now disassemble things in the workshop, although I think this is kind of useless. Because here's what you get. You get raw iron, or you get iron ore, and you get some leather out of it, and you get raw materials. It's not bad. Well, actually, this is probably the only situation where it's worth doing, because farmer's rags are pretty cheap. But 90%, or at least that's what I found recently, is that 90% of the stuff that you pick up from enemies, it's more worth to sell it and then just buy the materials you need. Unless you get really lucky with the additional productions, which is possible, I guess, but it's a bit of a gamble, and I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of it, let's just say. Okay, so we've camped once or twice, I think, on this journey. We can now head back to town, or a village, rather. We can head back to the village. We can collect our reward for one of the tasks that we've just done. Ideally, we should have done both of them, but, you know. Don't want to take too many risks, because I don't want to lose these guys. I'm rather fond and attached to them. And then this is what you do. You go here, we collect the bounty, everyone's happy, awesome. And then we can grab another one, but we're going to do that later, because they haven't refreshed yet. What hopefully has refreshed are the companions, and indeed they have. We have Aline. We have Amuzan. That is... You know what? We need you. We definitely need you, and we already have a swordsman. Rawny. Edoran Enthusiast. When this unit is on Edoran territory, their strength, dexterity, and strong constitution increase by 10%. Fair enough, no negative traits, which is important. As for you, no positive traits either. We need another companion desperately, and so there he is. And even have a name for him. I've prepared one. I'm hoping that we're going to get a companion pretty much immediately at the start of the episode, but there really weren't any good ones, so yeah. I'm gonna go with kills on you. We're gonna increase your constitution for 2 points, sure, I don't mind. Later down the line we can get strength. And since you're level 2, I believe you can use this Pelum immediately, right? You can. And the Pelum's really, really good. It deals 4 damage to the target 4 times. You can do the math and figure out how much damage that is. I'm going to say that it's a fair amount. And then on top of that, you also have Wrath, which is pretty bloody awesome. So, yep. There you go. Another companion of ours. And a good one at that. Now, originally he comes as an angler. Not what we need. We need a cook. Desperately. Right now. In fact, we need a cook yesterday. So, that's what we're going to get. We can also head over to the alchemist store, but like I said, this is one of those things where I kind of want to avoid it for a little bit, so we can just sell these things to you and leave it at that, I suppose. And then we can go to the market. I can actually talk to you two, right?
Seeing eye, strike me down if I lie. I saw him, I swear. 3 days ago, I was collecting firewood with my husband when the hunter's ghost attacked us. We managed to flee to the mountains, but it was a very close call.
Okay. I'm guessing you're going to tell me more about that.
Oh, don't believe a word she says.
Or not,
Probably
okay.
Came across a band of deserters. They've been running rampant in these parts since the beginning of the war.
Okay, fair enough. Let's buy...
Drags on. And Lahart and Vernalis requisition anything they come across. I barely have anything left to sell, let alone eat.
15 salt. Not 15. Let's buy enough salt to have 15, and then actually, we go up to 18. The reason I'm going to go up to 18 is actually there's a fun feature that a lot of people newer to the game don't really get. You can camp anywhere, or you can set up camp anywhere, and you don't actually have to rest every time you set up camp. So we can assign this guy to be a cook, and I can actually cook the food right away. So, with all the wheat that we liberated from the little sheepfold that we found, we can make 15 loaves of bread. loaves, sorry, of bread. 15 of them! That's enough to get him up to level apprentice in cooking already. That's absolutely amazing. And we also get some wolf sausages. So our food situation is already sorted, thanks to our amazing new companion. Speaking of, also have to get him in uniform. Well, we're going to use this. You. And the uniform, quote unquote, since we can't have all the same matching armor as armor sets and everything, in the game it's not really feasible. The uniform is facial hair and hairstyle. Forgot about the fact that your hairstyle won't necessarily grow to the standard that we've set, will it? That's okay. We can pick something that's kind of similar, and I think it's this, right? That's the... yeah. Go with that. It's basically the most similar that we've got, if you take a look at... well, okay, in some world it is. It's not this world, but that's okay. And there we go. So we can now exit, and we can depart north once again, but we're going to do that in the next episode. Until then, thank you very much for watching. If you want to join these companions and be a part of the adventure, feel free to let me know down in the comments below, and I will add you as a future companion. If you'd like to name some of the animals that we may eventually capture, you can also let me know down below, because that's... I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it will eventually. And yeah, that's about it. Until next time, have fun, take care, bye-bye.